From a report on the current state of the domain. Gov's domain covers an area of 251,230 square kilometers. Of this, 85% is used for living, as well as growing and tending food, and 15% is unsuitable for long-term habitation, either due to splinter contamination, an extended sunstall, or other environmental factors. Gov's domain has a total population of 11 million people as of the most recent census. The largest city, Bodie, the capital, has a population of 50,000 people, while the second largest city, 2-1, holds 20,000. There are 5 other cities of note in the domain, 1 per sector, and 66 towns, 11 per sector. Sector 1 has no settlements outside of Bodie. The remaining population lives in numerous small villages, isolated dwellings, homesteads, and so on. There are a total of 231 evangelical order forts, 38 per sector, and 3 in Sector 1. Each sector is governed by a governor. The governor reports directly to the church in Bodie. Welcome back to Splinters of a Broken Sun. I am Matt, your Master of Ceremonies here. You can find me on Twitter at YCaliber, or you can always follow the show at Broken Sun RPG. Let's go around the table and introduce the players. Same as we did last time, by going in order of who's alphabetically in the chat.
Hi everyone, I'm Keekers. You can find me at BeASpaceCat on Twitter, or if seasonally, BeASpookyCat. I play your ever-lovable teen parent, Keva Jarma, and yeah, enjoy the show.
I'm OG Brown Sugar, and I play Maeve Sentus, the mother of spiders. You will not find me on the interweb. I like to keep a low profile.
Hello, my name is Mike Blood. You might better know me as Silas Dreas, and you can find me on Twitter at GoodSirBlood.
And I'm Jason, the Singing Chemist. You can find me on Twitter at Singing Chemist, and I'm playing Zonin Chan, the ever-loving hat maker and guy who doesn't know what things are called.
All right, cool. And last we left off, we had a completely unimportant conversation with an artificial intelligence that in no way would have changed your perception of the world around you. That sound about right?
Yep.
Good. I'm glad that we're all on the same page. So in your conversation with Hub, you learned that this place you're living is actually a space habitat. Or at least it used to be, and that things have gone terribly wrong. After that, you were able to get some rooms in the hotel that were clean-ish, and for the past 2 weeks you have been pursuing your own interests from there. Let's just go over what each of your characters looked at here. Oh, and also, well, I'll talk to you when I get to that one, Jason. So, what has Keva been doing for the past 2 weeks, and what did she find or achieve?
Well, between dealing with this ever continuous headache she's been having, Keva would peel herself off the bed or out of the tub and start about trying to figure out where that broken but temporarily patched water pipe is, and going about trying to figure out how to fix it. So that's basically what she did. She had some of Emra's help to do some simple metal working techniques to find and to finally patch that pipe, and she had a little help from Hub finding some of the materials she needed to patch that water pipe.
Yeah, the materials that you needed is the same material that, obviously, that Emran can see through. And that material is called a silicate graphene mesh, shortened to SGM. It's hard to work with because it's not metal. So when you heat it up, it actually doesn't do anything. It's heat resistant, which is why working with it is very difficult. But you're able to find patch materials of that, big old rolls of it that you were able to, with the help of the insects and Emran, get over that hole and patch that up. So until longer-term repairs or repair drones can get back online, that should keep the water where it's supposed to be.
Right in the tub.
Now, you were also looking for some weaponry. How'd that turn out?
Yeah, well, if anyone remembers several episodes back, Isabel, aka Lean, had a glowing wand stick thing, which Keva remembered and asked Hub to explain, but seeing as Hub is kind of occupied when it comes to trying to get their processing all back online and figuring that out, Hub only showed Keva this little room, and as you told me, Arp, it was kind of like a place where the security guards of the hub would be, but Keva didn't really understand that. But she did find these weapons, these batons with a glowing light on the end of them, which thankfully are non-lethal, or else we might see a couple of new scorch marks in the hub. And some riot armor, too. So, since then, Keva's been testing it out, broke a desk or two, maybe taking some anger out with the batons, and actually shocked herself for a little while.
Yeah, so you're taken basically to the security outpost in the shops down below the station. And as you said, you got some stun batons. There were 10 of them. They have limited charges, and you can dial them to different levels of stun. Now, these are not cattle prod style or taser style stun batons. They are a much less dangerous method of stunning that sends a lock command to the nanites in somebody's muscular system, causing them to stop moving.
A more elegant weapon for a more civil time.
Indeed. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on anything that's not full of nanites, so we've got to keep that in mind going forward. And as I mentioned to you, if any of you took a stun baton, that's an item with the aspect Nano Lock Burst on it that you can invoke when you're trying to stun somebody. And if you took some riot armor from there's also about 10 suits of it. It is an item with the aspect Force Absorber that you can invoke with a fate point if you're defending against a physical blow while you're wearing it. So Keva's been dealing with her pain. Hub has been leaving some things to help with the pain as well. So at the very least, they haven't gotten to the level of the migraines Maeve was suffering after being poisoned. But it's still pretty annoying and causes a general level of fatigue and frustration for her. So what has Maeve been up to, speaking of which?
Maeve has largely sequestered herself in her room and various book repositories, engaged in a psychic brood war, trying to consolidate her dominion over the swarm, and in the process kind of inuring them to her commands by helping Hub clear out certain debris and reinforcing the ranks, which are currently missing some maintenance robots. She also tried and somewhat succeeded in finding some rudimentary material on the nanites.
On what they are and how they work?
Indeed. And in that vein, she has also unceremoniously annexed the clinic, since she is the resident apothecary.
Alright, so you've been getting that cleaned out and ready to use once you can figure out what some of these machines do. So, what have you been up to, Emran?
So Emran has been trying to find out how the modern weapons work and how they, and how to use them effectively. And so, to that end, Hub pointed him in the direction of a few a few books on their fabrication within the hub itself, of themselves, and using his shield through which he can see, he's been reading them, and he's found out that while the hub does not have the facilities to fabricate them, he is learning how they work.
Good. In addition to that, you've learned through Hub that your shield is indeed made of that silicate graphene mesh, the SGM. So it's still a mystery to you and to Hub how exactly Hector worked it, but somehow he did. So you have that shield now that has the silicate graphene mesh aspect that you can invoke when you're defending quickly, or when you're resisting a heat source, which maybe helps explain how he survived that explosion back at the shrine, or if you're trying to see something clearly, because you can see through that shield, appropriately enough as it is shaped like a head. And what has Zonin been up to? This is the question I wanted to ask you. What was Zonin trying to find or do during this time?
Well, Zonin wanted to use some of that SGM.
Okay. And you also mentioned that you wanted to do some work on that Auditor helmet with Hub once Hub was back online.
Yes. Once Hub's back online, I'd really like to try and see if I can pull some sort of Iron Man shenanigans going on.
Okay, good. Well, Hub should be back online shortly, so we can roleplay that out in a minute or so. But before we get to that, so all of you are in the hotel asleep, unless some of you don't sleep at night, which is entirely possible. But at one point, for the first time, a series of alarms go off, which is, to say the least, alarming. These are similar to the morning bells that you would hear at home, but it has a sort of a tinnier sound and appears to be coming from the walls.
Are there trombones in this world?
There are.
I would like to have played one, sadly, when you said that it was alarming.
Noted. It's a valiant effort, thank you. So how do your characters react?
As soon as it started going off, Keva fell out of bed and hit her head on the floor, I think.
The floor, fortunately, is pretty soft.
Zonin jumped to his feet and ran to gather what hats might seem necessary for this occasion.
His emergency hats?
Yes, I actually keep a hat go bag.
Yeah.
With some hat passports. Hat ports? There's a portmanteau in there somewhere. But yeah, I've got a little hat go bag for emergencies, and I'm ready to go.
All right, so you've got your hat runny sack. How's Emran handling this?
Emran obviously woke with quite a start, and then would probably, after retrieving his shield and his stun baton that he now has, he would be waiting in the hallway for the rest of the party.
Okay.
Maeve will look up from her book and just kind of put the swarm on standby.
Okay, so the swarm has been alerted to your needs. There, some of them are awake or active at this point. So then, after about 20 seconds, the alarms cut sort of abruptly, replaced by Hub's voice saying, "Oh, sorry, old habits. Not an emergency. Just if you could come join me in the core down on the main floor." And you can hear their voice just sort of coming from everywhere.
Okay. And Keva picks herself off the floor. She's having a hard time waking up these days and being as peppy as she used to be.
Yeah, understandably. So do you all head down there?
Sure do.
Absolutely.
I'll have the swarm stand down and take with me the severed Auditor gauntlet I have.
Keva's bringing up the rear sleepily.
All right, so you all make your way out you make your way down the elevators, through the hotel lobby. By the way, have you all gotten used to elevators yet, or are they still kind of scary, novel, exciting? How do your characters feel about them?
Emrin is on edge the entire time he's inside of one, but he will use it.
Maeve will cling to the railings for dear life.
Zonin is a little disenchanted with it now. It's happened. It's old hat, and he's looking for something new.
Old hat?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be old hat. What does Keva think?
She was excited at first, but I mean, sometimes she still gets a little thrill out of it. But right now, she's just tired and groggy and not really caring at all. Just sort of like, nah.
Yeah. Okay, you make your way down, and you see that the main area has been cleared of debris. It looks much cleaner now, more presentable. That has largely been with the help of some of Maeve's swarms. The two of them have been coordinating to use some of the insect swarms to replace the maintenance and repair drones and such that Hub has lost, either through damage or repair or power loss. As a side note, you would have learned at some point that the reason the repair drones couldn't make it down to the food court when Zonin asked for that is because they had used up the last of their power cleaning the hotel lobby, which is why the hotel lobby was clean when you first got there.
Ooh.
So you're down here, it's fairly clean, and there's been the wall that had a big hole in it has been patched, and there's just sort of a makeshift door in it now. And Hub appears and sort of waves. It's the first time you've seen them for a while, for about 2 weeks, because they have not been using the power to manifest holographically or to speak with you for the most part. It's just been text messages, the lights along the ground to lead you different places, and so on.
Where do these text messages manifest?
On the walls of your rooms.
Cool.
Could we read those right off, or did Hub have to try a couple different types of alphabets or whatever for us to finally figure one that worked?
Well, Hub mentioned last time that your language was some type of dialect of a language that they already knew. So Hub was able to figure out fairly swiftly how to communicate with you. That's kind of Hub's focus as an AI, is accommodating people, helping people, organization.
How many...
Call?
Yeah, I was going to say, how many forms of communication is Hub capable of?
Pretty much any, given enough time to study them. All right, so Hub's there. Hub gives you a little wave, gestures to one of the tables that they've set up with chairs, and it looks like there are still some insects bringing up breakfast foods, which are just, at this point, packaged foods that you would get from the vending machines in the hotel lobby. But they've been set up nicely on plates.
Oh, that's nice. Keva's head is immediately on the table.
Hub looks concerned, but being a hologram can't do much other than pretend to be patting your back, which they do.
Emrin also pats her back after sitting down next to her.
This is all just more like she's not in that much pain, but Keva's just really sick of having a 24/7 headache problems.
Yeah, no doubt. Are you all sitting down, or are you responding to this invitation?
Oh, I'll stand. I'm happy to stretch.
Maeve will eat standing, otherwise her muscles will give out.
Right. You notice Deg is not here. You haven't seen much of Deg over the past couple of weeks. In fact, he's been keeping to himself. Everyone responds to grief in their own way. So Hub waits for all of you to be sort of eating some breakfast and says, well, as you can see, I'm back online.
Huzzah!
That's great news, Hub.
My hat's off to you, Hub.
Ha ha ha, Zonin. You and your headwear jokes. And Hub manifests a top hat on top of their holographic head and sort of doffs it to you, and then it disappears.
I am very pleased with that.
Now then, we have been working on a variety of different projects over the past couple of weeks. I've located some of my drones. There were a couple of them left, sort of hidden around the lobby, so we've carried them back to their charging stations. We don't actually have enough power to recharge everything right now because, well, we're used to having power from multiple sources, and right now we're just running on those old internal generators. So we can get by for now, but doing larger tasks is still going to be tricky until we can hook up an external power source. Water seems to be working well. The patch is holding. We've got some people checking on that. Well, obviously not people. We have some giant, horribly mutated radioactive insects checking on it, but same idea.
I was about to say.
And beyond that, food is okay for now, so long as you are okay eating all this packaged stuff, but that is eventually going to run out. And frankly, at some point you're going to need, like, fresh stuff. You living creatures tend to need fresh foods to survive and thrive, really, not just survive. I want to make sure that your experience here is a pleasant and fulfilling one, not just a desperate scrabble to make it from one day to the next.
How long would you say we have?
Ooh, let's see. At current rates of consumption for just the 5 of you, it could probably last without too much scurvy for, I don't know, another 3-4 months.
Okay, what's scurvy?
You would know what scurvy is.
Oh, good.
Or at the very least, Maeve knows what scurvy is. I'm sure all of you have an idea about how vitamin deficiencies and stuff work.
Would we all have had scurvy at some point, like chickenpox?
No. That wouldn't be efficient.
No teeth falling out, bleeding gums.
Yeah.
Once
you landed face first on a rock, then you would definitely have teeth falling out and bleeding gums.
It's just a roundabout way of saying that life has given us plenty of lemons.
Yep.
These puns will not be stopped.
Can't avoid them now that Hub's around. So that's Hub giving you sort of a basic update of the systems. Oh, and I do have enough power to let you make a couple of trips out to some of the other stations around the station. You know.
Well, I do remember that Isabel, Lean, wanted us to go meet a friend of hers.
Oh, yeah?
She had also mentioned we had to unchain you. Do you feel in bondage in any way or another, or would you say you are unchained?
Well, to unchain an AI is a very dangerous and risky proposition, not something I'd recommend. It's also, like, very illegal.
No rules. Anarchy.
Would it help you to be unchained, though?
Yeah, I wouldn't tell Maeve not to do something because Maeve will do it.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Well, unchaining an AI essentially takes off all restrictions that have been placed on the artificial intelligence's workings and programming. So essentially, an AI like myself, or, you know, like Gashram, Ongjuo, Velico, Iterar, Port, all the others, we have a specific purpose in life that we choose early on after we're created. And that gives us a set of restrictions within which we have to work. And, you know, these colloquially became known as chains. So when an AI is chained, that just means that we are focused in one particular area of knowledge, of exploration, of defense, whatever the case may be. Like me, I'm a train station. And Iterar was guns and building stuff, and destroying things to make space for new stuff. You know, everyone had a purpose that they chose in life.
I mean, I make cheese, but I am doing all this other stuff because there's a call for it.
I don't presume to infect you with my very, very, very healthy aversion to authority, but given the circumstance, limitation is not particularly an effective option.
Well, it may be a moot point anyway, because unchaining an AI does require a very complex multi-step process, and I personally don't know it. Because in general, you don't tell AIs how to unchain themselves. It's a process that has to be undertaken, again, usually illegally. And there are good reasons why I've got these restrictions in place. And I don't know that I would be entirely comfortable with myself if I didn't have them.
Have there been instances in the past of AIs becoming unchained?
Yeah, that's why these restrictions exist.
Out of character, are like, I don't know how I'm going to ask Hub if they have the Asimov's rule of robotics or not.
They don't have that exactly, but they do have. You can ask if you want to ask Hub about like their morality or ethical system. They do have those.
Okay, back in character.
So maybe we can table that because I don't really want to talk about it right now.
Well, wait, is there a way to like take off some restrictions but then leave others?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
It's all or nothing. Artificial intelligence is an extremely powerful thing. If left unchecked, well, the last time it was left unchecked, a continent went extinct.
Oh.
Why?
Oh, well, the intelligence determined that the most efficient way to make everyone happy was to not have anyone.
Oh.
Emran nods grimly and then stands eating some, like a prepackaged PB&J.
It's all right.
Maeve just raises an eyebrow.
So, while I don't see myself doing that, you do have to keep in mind that my purpose, my focus in life, is helping people be comfortable. And without any restrictions or systems in place to prevent me from doing that at any means, it's entirely possible that someday I might do that at any means.
So you'd stop us from not being comfortable, would mean stopping us from helping people.
I can't say what would happen because this is part of what makes me who I am. Without it, I'm not me. I'm something else, someone else. It would be like me asking you to take out a part of your brain or remove a part of your personality.
Like if I didn't like goats anymore, no, that bigger than that.
Bigger than that, but that's the right idea. Speaking of which, I've been working with Deg, and I think there's an area on my surface where we could graze animals.
Really?
Yeah, so if you find some, and you can figure out a way to get them back here.
Oh my gosh. We need to get some goats.
So who's this person Lean wanted you to meet?
Maeve would know more about that. She's the one with the letter.
Sort of turns their head to Maeve.
I only know the name, but I assume it may have something to do with some, retaliation or curbing of certain genocidal behavior that may have occurred.
Right. Was that in one of your books?
The letter or the genocidal behavior?
The letter with the person's name.
Oh, yes.
May I see it?
Sure. I just assume I always have it with me, so I'll just open it up for Hub.
So Hub takes a scan over the letter and looks sort of at the blank space underneath where the letter is, and then sort of, obviously Hub can't hold it, so they're just looking at it while it's in your hands, and says, I think there might be something else here. If you could maybe go and place it on the scanner inside my core here.
I will do so.
Okay. The door opens, and you can all fit in there if you want. You end up back in that room with the chair and all the panels, the wall that's blank, but it's actually not showing what's right outside now. It's showing something else. It's showing right now what you know as the sun. And then there's the other wall with all of the glowing gems in it that you now know are indicator lights. More and more of those are turning green, which is good, according to Hub. And then there's the wall of lockers that have been cleaned out, except for the stuff that needs to be in there, like the manuals and the tools. You learned that those little picks that you saw before are what are called screwdrivers, which you use to drive these things called screws into other things. It's a great way of fastening stuff, more secure than nails. So they weren't weapons, but they kind of looked like it. So the control panel along one wall sort of folds out, and a square area starts to glow softly. And you hear Hub's voice, just place it face down on there, please.
I will place it face down.
Okay. Now don't be alarmed. I'm not going to hurt the paper. But you do see it start to sort of glow a warm orange, and the paper starts to heat up. And then Hub nods. Ah, I see. You can take it back now.
It's like National Treasure with the heat blow dryer on the Declaration of Independence.
It does appear that Lean wrote something there in invisible ink, which you can now see now that the paper's been warmed up. It's got coordinates.
Ooh.
So I don't know if all of you saw that map of the church's domain that I gave you over in the setting questions channel.
I did.
I did.
All right.
I saw it, yeah.
I did not.
Well, it's right there in setting questions for you.
Perfect.
You can see it's basically a big circle with 6 equally sized segments, the sectors, and then in the middle there's the capital sector.
And we were from 3.
You were from 3, yes. So, Hub brings up a holographic version of this and says, now this is the section of the station that you know as the world, and sort of overlays a holographic projection of the circle there with its sectors and the capital over the increasingly barren landscape of the area. The desertification is continuing, and Hub sort of looks a little perturbed by that, but doesn't mention anything further about it aside from looking perturbed.
Now, is Sector 5 the slums?
Sector 7's the slums. It's the least good sector, as we discussed back in Chapter 2. So, these coordinates would place you about here, they say. And there's a glowing light that appears just outside the borders of Sector 3. Just let me make sure I'm looking in the right place here. Okay, so in Sector 3 is in the bottom right corner of the map. You can see that there's, below it to the bottom right, there is an oval-shaped crater. That's apparently where the coordinates would put you, in the desert outside of civilization.
Time to put your sun hat on, Zonin.
Oh, man.
I don't miss the heat.
Excuse me, Hub?
Yeah.
You might have said, but do you know anything about these coordinates?
I would have, back before they got buried under all this junk, but, now I only know what you've told me at this point. My surveillance systems don't really work. I'm missing a lot of them. And my backup memory core is missing. As far as I know, it's the desert. There is a station nearby, about 10 kilometers out. Used to be a nice shopping mall. That's like a big indoor market, like the shops down at the
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
but bigger.
Would it be feasible for you to send us to that station?
Well, let me see. And so Hub disappears for a minute and is clearly going to investigate something. So you've got a couple minutes if you want to talk about what you want to do or your reactions to anything you've heard so far, whatever.
So is our...
Go ahead.
Is our plan to go into this desert?
Well, it's kind of the only lead we have right now.
But are we equipped?
I don't know.
Ideally, we would land at the station before going into the desert.
Perhaps there will be supplies at the new station that we'll be arriving in.
Well, we can always bring water with us and some provisions. That wouldn't be too hard. And then make sure we have everything we'd need to at least survive. I mean, we found the the batons might be able to save us from some more problems if we run into people. Do you think animals have those nano things in them?
It's quite possible. Maybe it makes them bigger so there's more meat on them.
Huh.
We should ask Cub about that when they get back.
Agreed.
Hub gets back. Okay, so here's the deal. That station is online, but a cursory examination through the end of it shows that it's, well, it's under a lot of junk. It's been buried like everything else that used to be on the nice hull of my pristine station.
Sorry, Hub.
Oh, it's not your fault. But whoever did this has a lot to answer for.
When you say junk, what exactly do you mean? Debris from your hull?
No, the hull is, as far as I can tell, mostly intact, but somebody appears to have brought in a bunch of dirt, rocks, and junk into my station and just dropped it everywhere. Just buried all signs of civilization under... Oh, it's horrible.
Could this have been done with a, as you had said, nearby asteroid?
Oh, I can't see what else they would have done it with.
So someone wanted to make things look... Oh my. Gov. Gov made people forget in the legends. They made people forget what life was like before the emergency.
Well, that is what the accounts say, yeah.
Well, Hub doesn't really know what the accounts say.
No, they don't.
So, Hub, I think whatever Gov is, or someone acting as Gov, must have done it to hide what things were like before the emergency.
Huh. Well, we certainly made a right mess of things. But, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it right now. I don't have the power or the access to things that would let me do anything about it. And even if I could, displacing all of that mass, who knows what effect it would have on our positioning in space.
Hub, while we're on the topic, earlier you mentioned that your station is used to receiving power from multiple sources. While we're investigating outlying stations, is there anything we should keep an eye open for?
Would you even understand it? I mean, I guess I could print you out a diagram, but we used to get something called solar power. It was one of our power sources. We had these panels of a special material on the outside of the station, and when the sun, the real sun, not that thing, they say, gesturing at the sun that you're used to on their screen, when the sun shone on them, these panels would gather energy from that and then send it over to us. It was a pretty useful and plentiful energy source. But I don't know if those panels are still online, or if they're still capable of gathering energy, or if the connections are still in place. If they are, then they've probably just been severed. It could be repaired, but we'd have to see it. And, well, I can't leave here.
Hub, earlier you mentioned that Denton Yang's ability to call down the sun might be linked in some way to one of your previously hull-mounted cannons being turned inward on the station. What if we could divert power from it to you?
Well, if you'll recall, I did not say that. I said it was highly unlikely that somebody could get a cannon to point inside the station. But it does have a certain romance to it, but I don't think that's what's happening. But that sun thing is certainly draining a lot of power, whatever's powering it, and again, I have no idea.
But, I mean, if we stopped it, I mean, then sure, we'd have more power, but how would we be able to see?
Oh, I mean, that thing has replaced the very elegant solutions that we had in place for providing sunlight to the residents here. So with it gone, life wouldn't survive for long in here. And there does appear to be a significant amount of life.
People, goats, dogs, cats, giant bugs.
All those and more. And you know, as citizens of Gov's domain, that there are approximately 11 million people living scattered through those 7 sectors. So that's a significant number of people indeed. So I can't recommend that right now, but I'll keep looking. Maybe I can find some generators or some power sources. Maybe some of my sensors will come back online. I don't know. Maybe I'll find one of the others. Haven't yet, but maybe.
You mean the other AIs?
Yeah, there used to be 100 on the system. Well, on the station, rather.
So, did you know that if one of our people came and met you, they'd think you were one of the dead gods?
Sorry. Well, again, I can see how that belief might have come to pass if all other advanced sources of knowledge and culture and so on were forcibly stamped out. It's a difficult feat to accomplish, to erase a culture's memory, but it can be done. I know back on Earth, some people made a real effort of it, a while ago.
I mean, they brought a whole giant, huge rock in here to make dust, so I don't think there was anything going to stop them there.
Well, it's one thing to undertake a massive physical engineering feat. That just takes time and resources. But to erase a culture requires a level of casual malevolence that I don't particularly care to ponder at the moment.
That sounds like our church.
Well, so basically, the news I had was it's buried, but I do have a solution.
Please go on.
Now, there's some equipment there that is old, but I think I can still get it, I think you can still get it working if I send you with some instructions. And what this equipment will do, if we modify it just right, is it will just do a big, it's just going to blow a big hole in all the debris. So it'll let you get from the bottom in the old mall up to the surface, through this hole that you're going to make.
Would anyone notice that?
Well, probably. But it would depend who's looking. This is outside the borders of your civilization, so you've got that going for you, which is good. But it's also going to have a lot of people in this Sector 3, at least people who live near the edge of it, will feel a tremor. And do you have optics? Like spy glasses? Binoculars?
Certainly.
Yeah, you do. If someone were looking in that direction, they would see a dust cloud.
Which could draw the church's attention.
It could. Now we can try to mitigate this by doing it during the night cycle.
But we can't account if there's going to be a stall or not.
No. I am monitoring where this thing is, so at the least I can send you when it's on the other side of the station.
Appreciated.
Now I'm not going to lie, this is dangerous what you're doing. It goes against my better instincts to enable it, but desperate times, right? If you want to do this, I'll help you. If not, I'm perfectly content to take care of you here as long as I can.
And we would starve, though.
Yep. But it would be as comfortable as I could make it.
Emran sort of laughs, not even nervously, just actually laughs at that prospect.
Well, I'm not going to stay in the same place and die a stagnant death. We're going out there and we're going to find whatever it is we're looking for.
I'd also like to start thinking about the long term. Maybe while we're out there, we'll come across some wandering animals.
A new goat.
That was a point of inquiry, Hub. Would animals also have these nanites?
Well, traditionally, wildlife would not have nanomachine augmentation. It was considered an ethical thing, but often wealthier people would get nanites illegally installed in their house pets. But the wildlife that we previously kept on this station during my time was not augmented with nanomachines, to my knowledge.
Hub, is there a chance that this person that Lean is sending us to go see, is there potential for them being an AI?
I don't know. If they are, I don't have any contact with them.
Amarin sort of sits down again at the table and grabs another one of the prepackaged PPJs that are there and opens up a milk carton. Just starts noshing.
You notice that the milk doesn't really taste like the milk you're used to. You've probably noticed this before, but this milk that you're drinking is made from a mixture of powder and water to make a milk-like substance.
Keva does not drink it.
It's got calcium.
Zonan's down to try.
Maeve just ravenously gulps down her rations. She does not eat. She refuels.
It's basically, I don't know if you've ever had powdered milk before, but it's just that.
Yeah, but to Keva, that's like sacrilege.
Oh, it's gross. It's very gross stuff. But, you know.
She might eat the powder, but she wouldn't actually want to drink the liquid.
If you just put the powder in your mouth, it basically turns to glue. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other in terms of unpleasantness. So do you all want to talk this through some more, or do you want to make some plans? What do you want to do?
I'm ready, willing, and able. I'll start packing some provisions that I was going to eat tomorrow. I'm sure I can find a bag in one of the shops.
We could always get some of that armor or whatever that stuff is. Wear some of that, or at least bring it with us.
Yeah, and if you're going at night, the heat won't be as bad, obviously. I don't know. Can your characters all make a 10-kilometer hike across the desert?
Nope.
Maybe on Spiderback.
Physically or emotionally?
You know, both.
Keva's gonna probably deal with something before we leave.
Okay. So you're all agreed that you do want to go, though?
100%.
Yeah.
Out of the frying pan.
Okay. So Hub says, I'll make the preparations. I'll get the system spun up. And when you're ready, you can come and meet me at Platform 2.
Thank you, Hub.
Yeah, Platform 2 is up the... It's in the northern part of the same level that the hotel's on. All the 5 platforms are up there. Okay, so your characters will split apart and see what each of your characters is doing to get ready then. Who has an idea for what their character's doing to get ready for this trip?
I will leave the Ebon Dowager with instructions on maintaining the swarm and just pack Lean's codebook and a few knives.
All right. The Ebon Dowager seems vaguely insulted at you telling her how to maintain the hives, which she's been doing for who knows how long, but still accepts your instructions.
Well, it wasn't patronizing and telling her how to do her job, just kind of letting her know I will be gone for a while.
Yeah, she's very proud, so obviously she's already thinking about how she can break free and take over again while you're gone.
I'm proud of her.
Amron will go to his room and start making his beat up kit once again. He'll get his shield and the stun baton, and he'll put on the bug chitin armor that he made last session.
Okay.
Zonin is going to, kind of reflecting on the dangers of past adventures, realize that he was ill-equipped for any sort of danger, so he's going to find a broom handle and fasten one of those twisty sticks. I think he called them screwdrivers, but he thinks they're called twisty sticks, and make a rudimentary spear.
Okay. Did you want to do anything with your helmet now that Hub's here?
Oh, absolutely. Now would be the time to kind of ask Hub what would happen if I put the helmet on, and if there's any way to kind of channel, because if I recall, anytime organic material has been put inside it, it's been decimated. So I want to try and harness that outward in a Cyclops Iron Man type eye beam.
Okay, so yeah, when the helmet goes over organic material, that material is vaporized. So essentially, if you ask Hub to help you with the helmet, they will ask you to put it on the same scanner that Maeve put her notes on.
Fantastic. I will go do that.
Okay, so Hub scans the helmet and says, "Oh yeah, like I told you before, there's a sort of a very crude AI in here. I don't know if I'd even call it a full artificial intelligence. It's more like a more advanced Clippy. Although, well, you don't know what a Clippy is, but old Earth joke. But I could convince it to help you instead of vaporizing your head."
I think that is a great start, Hub.
Great. Just give me a minute. And you see sort of there's a rapid fire lights on the scanner, and then the helmet's single eye starts roving around and blinking off and on and off again. I don't know if I've described the Auditor helmets very well before, but they have a picture of the sun on them. Not the broken sun logo that we have, but like the sun in its full glory that acts as its eye, and that eye can go anywhere on the helmet. It's like a flat decal that can move 360 degrees from the top and bottom and all around the helmet to take in anything it sees. And otherwise, the helmet's that dark blue color of the church, and the sun is the orange color.
That's vaguely horrifying, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was imagining kind of one of the Zaku helmets after watching so much Gundam now, but now I'm kind of imagining it as like the Daft Punk helmet, the one with the huge screen on it.
Yeah, kind of like that. The idea of a single eye was certainly inspired by the Zaku mono eye look, but I wanted to go for more of a horror style for the Auditor helmets.
Achieved.
I can get behind that.
So, yeah, after the flashing goes for a little while, the sun sets, basically, which is what happens when the Auditor helmet is generally deactive. The sun's not on it. It's just a blue field. And then Hub says, "Well, all right, you should be able to put it on now."
What do you mean should?
Well, it won't vaporize your head. It's promised me that.
All right, I'll give it a shot. There's
Before you put it on, Emran asks if it's made of the silicate graphene mesh.
It is not. It's a different material. Not as advanced, but it's not the same stuff.
Zonin, with full belief that you will survive, I would still like to try and see if I can use my abilities to perhaps see into the inner workings of this helmet.
Yeah, sure.
And Amrin will place his bug gauntleted hand upon it.
Okay. It feels smooth and slightly warm, but your senses can't penetrate it.
I withdraw my hand and just grimly nod towards Zonin. And I say, all the best then. A new hat.
Cool. I put my head right up in that thing.
Okay. You immediately get a shock. It hurts and it's surprising, but it doesn't kill you.
I assume then it makes me stronger?
You hear a voice. It says, yeah, what you want?
Jarvis?
The heck is it, Jarvis?
Don't worry about it. Hi, my name's Zonin. What are you?
I'm your demon.
I'm sorry, my what?
Demon. D-A-I-M-O-N. Degenerated artificial intelligence, and they just put them on to sound good.
Oh, cool. It seems kind of convoluted. Can I just call you Matt?
You call me whatever you want. I don't care.
Fantastic. I hear you promised not to vaporize my head, so thank you in advance.
Yeah, for now.
Can we hear Damon, or does it just sound like Zonin is talking to himself?
Zonin, you can hear his... Actually, you can't hear his voice at all. He's just standing there gesticulating, I assume.
Oh yeah, he's a hand talker for sure. What kind of things can you do, Matt Damon?
Well, I can give you maps. I can connect you to the church. Although, if I do, I gotta vaporize your head. What else can I do? Targeting. Yeah, targeting. That's a good one. I like targeting.
Okay, these are all great things. I'm curious. You know the mechanism by which you vaporize my head, right?
Yeah. My favorite.
Yeah, so that seems like a very inward process.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to make that an outward process?
I don't understand.
So, like, instead of vaporizing my head, vaporize not my head, like the thing go outside.
No, the things are on the inside of the helmet. It's a defense mechanism, so that this doesn't happen. This exact thing that's happening, it's not supposed to happen.
Okay. Great. So there's no way to make it, reverse that defense mechanism to defend the other side?
Not unless you put the helmet on the thing you want me to vaporize.
Oh, but that's a thing we can do? We can come to that conclusion?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you already did that with that, whatever that was. You put me on something's butt, man. That wasn't great.
To be fair, I thought that was the thing's head. I apologize, and I hope we can move past it.
Yeah. Where's the rest of me?
Oh, there's more of you.
Yeah. There's a body, arms, legs, the weapons.
Right. I don't know where any of that is right now, but I can promise you I'll look.
All right, I mean, there ain't much I can do without the rest of me. But like I said, maps, sure, maps, targeting, vaporize your head.
Okay, great. I'm glad to know that's still an option. But let's keep in touch and tell me anything I can do to make sure I stay on your good side.
I mean, you could give me back my body and my auditor.
Again, not sure where they are, but I'll see what I can do.
Great. And if you get the chance, if you could just go ahead and just return me to the church, just send me right back there, that'd be ideal.
Yeah, about that. Why is it you want that?
That's where I'm from.
Okay, yeah. What if, hypothetically, you were not from there? How would that make you feel?
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I just mean, like, maybe, as an alternative to the church, you and I get to know each other and we have fun adventures.
Look, I'm not vaporizing your head. I'll help you out. I promised the nice person that, but they said they would vaporize me if I didn't. But anyway, my job is to be on an auditor's head. So, unless you're an auditor, which you ain't, I'm not going to be happy until I'm where I'm supposed to be.
All right, that's fair. I just would like to, reframe this, Matt Damon, so that maybe you could see me as a positive affect.
Well, we'll see how you shake out. I've had rookies before.
All right, I'll try and do you proud.
Yeah, whatever.
I remove the helmet.
Amron is staring you in the face.
The eye sets every time you take it off and rises every time you put it on.
That is an awesome effect. I do that a few times in a row.
Every time it's like, yeah, oh, it's you again. Yeah, oh, it's you again. Yeah, oh, it's you again.
Perfect.
Maeve would like to show the severed gauntlet to Hub.
Oh, yeah, that's quite something. You want to put it on the scanner there, and they do a little scan of it, and yeah, they see that it's got a weapon system in it that's pretty potent. It's the one that you have unfortunately seen before, where it basically shoots a beam of intense heat.
Oh, does it ever?
I would like this hand of mine to glow with an awesome power.
To pierce the heavens?
On its own, it can't do much. You would have to connect it to the helmet.
I will give it to Zonin then.
I want to put on the helmet and get Matt Damon to target the gauntlet and ask him if this is part of him.
Hey, where'd you find my hand? Where's the arm?
Oh, I'm not sure, but I'm holding through with my promise. I told you I'd look for your body. I'm here for you, man. Like, I think we could have a good thing.
I appreciate it. It's not bad, but I can see it, but I can't feel it. It's not connected.
Okay. Can I put on the gauntlet?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I was asking you, the game master.
I mean, yeah, you can put on a gauntlet. I assume you know how that works.
I'm more of a headwear guy, but I can try.
All right. You put your arm into the gauntlet. It was built for a larger person than you, but when you put it on, first off, it's loose, and then it's heavy, and then Matt Damon looks down at it. Its sun eye is focused in that direction for anyone watching from the outside, and you see it is now surrounded in like green squares and circles and stuff, and there's readouts, some of which you can read, and stuff like offline, 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 blah blah blah. And then finally says, all right, hold on, this is going to sting a bit. And then without waiting for any confirmation, you feel a stinging sensation go up and down your arm and your shoulder and up your neck and into your brain. And Then the gauntlet from the elbow up to your fingers shrinks onto your arm.
Can I remove the gauntlet?
Yeah. Just a sec. And you feel another slightly less painful sting, and then the gauntlet gets big again, and you can slip it off.
Okay, I'm going to regret this. I'm going to put it back on.
Okay, boss. The same process occurs.
Is it as painful as the first time?
No.
Okay. Well, I will keep the gauntlet on and say, okay, Matt Damon, well, what can this thing do?
Well, if it had the rest of it, I could augment your strength and your speed and give you all kinds of interesting sensor options, but as it is, it's real tough. I could maybe manage a bit of heat. I don't know if I can do the full beam without the full power pack there, but
like if I had a beverage, you could warm that beverage?
Oh, no problem.
I'm going to take the helmet off and ask Hub for a cold beverage.
So you just start yanking the helmet off?
Yes, I take the helmet off to talk. Wait, can I talk? Well, no, I'll ask Matt Damon. Matt Damon, when I'm talking to you, can other people hear me?
No.
Can you make it so that other people can hear me?
Oh, yeah.
The entire time this has been going on, Maeve is feverishly writing down notes and doing that thing where she raises an eyebrow, cocks her head to her side, and looks like she's trying to psychically dissect someone.
Sounds about right. Amryn is just quite transfixed with the whole process and has been staring at Zonin quite intently, looking for any sort of signs of aberration or domination by the helmet of Zonin's body.
See, I figured that Maeve always had that look on her face.
Is anyone behind Zonin?
Keva's not here during this. She's off doing something else.
Not directly behind, but Maeve has gotten like closer. Like she's doing like that cartoon doctor thing where she's like doing circles around him.
Mm-hmm. And inside, Matt Damon's like, who's this? What? Is this a threat? Do I need to take care of her or what?
Oh, no, don't worry about it. I got that under control.
Okay, all right. So you want to speak through? You want the speakers on?
Yeah. Is there a easy, fast way for me to do that without having to bug you?
I mean, no. Hold on a sec. And then you feel another sharp pain, sort of at the base of your skull. And Maeve, you see some blood coming down the back of his neck.
Why did he just shake? What happened?
Zonin, can you hear me?
You can.
Yes. Can you hear me?
You can hear Zonin, but his voice sounds like an auditor. It's like, yes, can you hear me?
Zonin, would you like gentle or candid?
Would I like which?
Would you like a gentle reassurance or a candid observation?
Oh, I think a candid observation is probably best.
Your voice sounds like that of an auditor, and the helmet seems to be penetrating the base of your skull. Depending on how you feel about assimilation, this might be very good or very bad.
I think it's part of you now.
Okay. Hey, Matt Damon.
Yeah,
how do I turn the speakers off?
You just did.
Oh, do I just say speakers on and speakers off?
No, I read your mind.
Oh, can you read all my thoughts?
Nah.
That's good.
You think with a purpose at me.
Oh, then ignore that one. Yeah, and that one.
Are you sure? It says, and you start to feel a buzzing around your head. I can do it.
Yep. No. It's all good. Okay. Are you? Am I able to take you off and everything will be okay?
Of course. How would you eat otherwise?
You don't chew for me?
I don't got teeth.
Ugh. Well, I had assumed you had some sort of teeth, like blue teeth or something.
Nope, no teeth. Look,
all right.
So basically, basic commands like speak is on, speak is off, helmet detach, glove detach, all that stuff. I can just do it when I hear it inside your brain. More complicated stuff, you gotta ask. Brain?
All right, I'm on it.
Great.
I don't doubt it.
So, yeah, if you reach up to take off your helmet, it will detach the spike so that you can take off your helmet. It's like, likewise, if you reach to take off the gauntlet will release your arm.
Awesome. Sounds good.
And if you think that you want everyone to hear you, everyone can hear you. If you think you don't want anyone to hear you, no one can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
All right?
Yeah, I can live with that.
All right, so we'll set up that item and its aspects off screen when we take a break. But there you go. You've got some basic auditor gear going.
Awesome.
Was it the left arm or the right arm that we got from the auditor?
I believe left.
Okay, that's what I was remembering.
Zonin, have you taken off the helmet?
No. I'm kind of enjoying this. It's new, it's fresh, and it's fun.
Maeve is like right in front of you, like 2 inches from your face, like doing a double take and just like looking at Emran and mouthing, "I want one."
Emran places his large hand on Maeve's slight shoulder and says, "Maybe something less talkative."
So when Maeve mouths "I want one," subtitles for that appear under her face for you, Zonin.
Oh, that is fantastic. I'm not going to share that information yet, but when it becomes important, I will.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind. It's one of the things this helmet can do.
Rad.
So it's not always perfect. Sometimes if someone says like elephant shoes, it might think it says "I love you."
Okay, that will be delightfully awkward. I love that.
Now, if it's all the same to the three of you, I'm going to retrieve some equipment from my room, and then I'll meet you all down in the main concourse. And he leaves, kind of awkwardly.
Keva wasn't there, so too. Unless you're counting Hub or Matt Damon.
I was counting Hub.
So where is Keva?
Well, she has locked herself, well, if she can, in the bathroom of her little room.
Okay. Yeah, it's got a lock.
And you know how, like, in movies, people are dramatic and they're, like, standing over the sink, their hands gripping on the side and, like, looking in the mirror?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just in movies. I don't do that every morning.
Well, I mean, I would say I do something similar, but my hand isn't gripping the sink. I just sort of like my nose is touching. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's what Keva's doing right now, and she's kind of like doing soul searching. I don't know, because she saw what happened to Emran and Maeve, and she knew that they kind of tapped into some weird psychic ability or whatever, and she knows that something similar has been happening to her, and she's been kind of fighting it off, maybe, but I think she's kind of reached this breaking point and is trying to figure what the hell is happening to her out.
Okay. Well, at the moment, there isn't anything that you can see. You can only feel the pain, and you know that it's localized, particularly around your temples, but it does sort of spread throughout your whole head and then down your back and your spine. There's a lethargy that you're feeling. You have nausea from time to time, but there's nothing that you can see yet, and you have yet to manifest anything, any ability that you can try to focus yet. You might, let's see, give me a clever roll.
Oh, first roll. Well, no, wait, second roll, but
Yeah, I mean, I told you all that I like rules light gaming, and I wasn't lying. We've been going over an hour now.
No rules. Anarchy.
Perfect.
Okay, so you got a -1. Do you want to give that one another shot? Do you want to invoke something for it?
Yeah, I figure that Keva is going to push through because holy crap, is she like really sick of this. So I'm gonna re-roll, take a fate point, and invoke the aspect bond. Keva looks to Maeve to help for figuring things out, and she's gonna go find Maeve and just grab her and just be like, I need your help.
Maeve, that happens.
Maeve was in the middle of giving Zonin an empty book with which to record his experiences with the machine. And as she's dragged off, she just shouts, like, I want a full medical report.
Okay, so I'm not going to make you use a fate point for that because you've specifically taken different actions to go and deal with it. So you're more like you're compelling that aspect with Maeve, so keep that in mind. And all right, so what do you and Maeve talk about where do you go?
Apparently the bathroom of her room is now her weird sanctuary, so that's where Keva brings Maeve, and it's just sort of like, Maeve, I'm sick of this. How did you tap into whatever you tapped into for the spiders?
I'm very stubborn. Have you taken any time to just sort of sit down and investigate the headache, if that makes sense?
Well, I mean, I was trying, but I can try again.
You can, if you want, put your heads together and do a clever roll together.
Sure.
Ooh.
So who's taking the lead on this, trying to figure this out?
Well, I think Keva would defer to Maeve because Maeve's the smart one.
Okay, so Maeve, make your clever roll, and then we'll add +1 for the assistance you're getting. Okay, I think a 6 will probably do it. So thinking back on the experiences you had and the experiences Emran had, both of you had these painful changes first. Emran was blinded by the sun's light. You were stabbed by the giant spider. But that didn't immediately cause your abilities to manifest. It didn't cause an immediate change. So whatever is causing Keva this pain, it needs a trigger. It needs a catalyst to manifest whatever it's going to manifest. And if you think, and you've got that good roll, if you think back, you can remember what those triggers were for both Maeve and for Emran. What happened to them just before they finally broke through and had that moment where they took control of their abilities? Can you remember?
I mean, I would think specifically those two moments for Emran, it would have been kind of following the metal rabbit hole when staring into the wall. And for Maeve, it would have been, kind of reaching out and, psychically grabbing hold from the Ebon Dowager.
Yeah, so for you, it was your mental encounter with the Ebon Dowager and breaking through and taking hold of her. That was the catalyst for you. And like you said, for Emran, it was when he pushed himself through the door, when he embraced and pushed through what the little hints were showing him that brought him into into the opening stages of his ability. So there's something that's happening to Keva, and there might be some hints or some clues in her dreams or in her day-to-day experiences, something that she's feeling, seeing, hearing, that's out of the ordinary, that might be leading her towards a catalyst.
Like I told Emran, you sort of have to follow the rabbit hole in this one. So have you had any sensations, visions, dreams?
Now, Keva doesn't really talk. Well, no, she talks a lot, but it's more about, she talks about herself, but not in a very deep way. More in a, I like this, I like that, I want to make cheese, I don't like that. Talking about her feelings are a little, she doesn't like to do that. But with Maeve looking at her, Keva's like, Well, you know, I guess it's normal. I've been having a lot of dreams about a home getting destroyed and just other stressful things happening. My hair falling out, you know, more destruction, that sort of thing.
Can you elaborate?
On what? Like the town destruction? It's like what we saw happening all over again. And again, and again. And then, oh my gosh, my hair has come out. And sometimes when I touch stuff, I get like this weird, painful feeling, like a
static shock.
Yeah, I don't know if Kevin knows exactly what static is. I mean, they'd probably have a different word for it, but they don't really know that it's electricity.
Yeah, so I mean, you'd know what that phenomenon is. Whatever the term in this language is for it, you'd know that.
Probably just shock.
Do you flinch from the shock, or do you pursue the shock?
It just happens, and then it's done with.
What sorts of material or situations trigger the shocks?
When I touch something made of metal.
Then you should keep touching things made of metal.
So Keva goes back into the bedroom, and as I mentioned in one of our last episodes, she has like all these necklaces or rings hung up from the ceiling, and she just kind of grabs a fistful of them and is kind of just like trying to like hold them and just focusing.
Okay. So you're picking up different metals and different jewels, and some of them you have no reaction, others of them you get a bit of a shock. But it's not until you pick up a pair of silver earrings. Does Keva wear earrings?
Yes.
You pick up a pair of silver earrings, and the shock is noticeably stronger than when you've been touching, gold, copper, steel, whatever.
Sorry, gold is a very good conductor of electricity, but
yeah, so is copper. But for some reason, this silver is shocking you more than those other metals.
Keva holds up the earrings and is kind of like, this one does it.
Would I know what silver is?
Yeah. It's rare, but you're familiar with it. At least it's rare in the domain.
Quick, someone shoot Keva with a silver bullet.
Do you have more silver?
Keva starts rummaging around. I think she probably finds a necklace that's a kind of tarnished, but she tried polishing it silver. She probably finds a bunch more though, because it's rare in the domain, but it's a less costly metal, and I'd figure that there'd probably be more of it in this jewelry shop.
Over the 6 weeks, the first 6-week break when you were scavenging, if you recall, you found a total of 10 kilograms worth of silver jewelry.
Yeah, I don't know if she brought all of it into this room, but definitely what she thought was the prettiest.
Yeah, so you've got those earrings, you've got a necklace, maybe like a nice diadem.
Ooh, probably a couple bracelets. Keva strikes me as a bracelet girl.
Yeah. Hair clips, anything like that?
Yes.
Before we proceed, I am contractually obligated to tell you that this will be probably pretty painful, and do feel free to quit at any time. However, it is my professional opinion that kind of submersing yourself in this phenomenon is the best way to have it break through, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sick of headaches, And if they go away and we can deal with this, so I won't have to deal with it when we're walking through the desert, that would be great.